This is My First Kiss by Umzwandile Mogali Masuku. Now, we must apologize right at the start of this. You've given us a really challenging script with some challenging names and some challenging words. And so we hope that we do it justice. And forgive us if we get anything wrong in any way, shape or form. But it is the story that counts. So, My First Kiss, wide afternoon, a wide black tarred road leading to a dusty driveway lined with jacaranda trees, a hazy focus on the horizon. A young man sits on a boundary rock at the top of the drive reading. The sun is beating down. Heat rises in rivulets. A group of girls walk in from a distance. Though obviously tired, they talk animatedly, their voices heard from a distance.
I remember feeling desperate to be found right and clean, so I could finally fit in. I needed something, and they were going to give it to me. They were all I had. I told myself that. They were so angry with me. I'd made them walk this way with me for over a week. John, I think.
John.
I apologise. I was looking for an F. You only want us to use this route because you owe Jabu money.
Jabu's the vendor at the bus stop. He sells sweets on credit if you can't pay him right then. He also looks like a young Blair Underwood. So delicious.
No. Honest, guys, this is faster. You just cut through my yard. I swear, I timed it.
Rubbish. It's not faster for me. It's just the same as if I walk past the bus stop. Only you get home faster.
What's wrong with that? That old route is too long for me.
Then why walk with us?
Huh?
I'm sandwiched between them.
Ruth frightens me. Her word means you are truth. She rarely speaks. So when she does, it matters. It's law. When she speaks, my heart trembles. I'm so scared this time is the gavel ending my social life.
Yeah. Why bother walking with us? If we're making it hard for you.
No, it's not that, I promise. I thought you could stop by mine and get some water or juice because it's hot.
Please believe me. Please don't leave me.
I promise.
Lies. Can't you ever tell the truth? You're always lying.
Hey.
The girls jump and stare, silence.
Hey.
He closes the book, he speaks, he's very kind.
You've been avoiding me.
No, I haven't. I have your money at home.
You do? That's nice. I've had to pay my boss from my salary, so that's made things hard for me.
Silence.
Do you have the money?
She hangs her head and visibly trembles.
No, I don't.
Silence. The wind ruffles through the leaves of the jacaranda trees. They wait.
Whether you have the money or not, you shouldn't avoid me. I thought we were becoming friends. There is nowhere where you shouldn't be able to go, okay?
Mortified silence. The other girls watch with gleeful joy.
Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
I miss our chats.
Me too. I miss them too.
The girls chat. The girls look at each other. He gathers his canvas bag and gets up.
Okay then. I'll see you tomorrow, Ntombi.
They watch him walk away, then continue down the drive to and through the black wrought iron gates.
I began to learn my grown-up lessons that day. If I can't get it with what's in my hand right then I can't have it. Yet. And if I make a mistake, I should sit in it. Be uncomfortable. At least I could go back to fantasizing about Jabu without him snapping out of fantasy mode and telling me off about his money.
The backyard. A very large colonial house, veranda facing the orchard, tropical garden, and a driveway that winds around a quaint forecourt. The living room, garage and study face the driveway. The dining room is in the center of the house. The bedrooms leading off east with a main bathroom and separate toilet. The kitchen in the back of the house leads into the dining room. There is a scullery leading off from the kitchen and a pantry off from the scullery. The kitchen doors open into the backyard. There is a stoop surrounded by a combination grassy and sandy well-used area, abandoned children's toys dotted here and there. The back of the orchard runs along the side of the kitchen into the backyard. There's a chicken coop, a small duck pond, a rabbit hatch, and 3 dogs laze around in the heat. It's an average African city country home. Gogo and Cece are hanging up or taking in the washing. She turns on hearing the girls.
Bon Tombi.
They vivionka and greet her simultaneously. She gestures them forward, does the prerequisite inspection, approves of what she sees, still working with Cece.
And how was school?
It was good, Gogo. How was your day?
Good. I'm sorry, I can't even pronounce that. I was so happy to see you all together. You must always stay like this, eh?
They smile and shift uncomfortably, ready to move on. Gogo turns back to the washing line. They make to move.
Have you had lunch? Are you hungry?
Micheal and Ruth look at me in desperation. We all have the same rules at home. You can't eat in a stranger's house, but you can't offend an elder. You know, how to get them out of this one?
They stare each other down. They make to speak at the same time. Go.
My mom.
Gogo, they have to.
They look at each other, waiting for the other to finish. Gesture, more teenage body talk behind Gogo's back. Finally, Gogo speaks.
You'll take some super cools from the freezer to keep you on your walk. It's just some juice. I make sure your mothers won't think I'm an old woman trying to delisa you with juice.
They stop talking, awkward silence. I go into the house, deep into the back of the pantry to the freezer, open it up, dig around for raspberry and blueberry and orange super cool. I rush to hand them out. Thank yous later, we're off. Through the neighbour's yard, down their drive into the main road that leads to the bus stop. I walk them up the road to Seely's house. We all say goodbye and I walk back home. The Potters. Turning right into the main road, I hear noises from the driveway of one of the houses on my right. There's hard driving music and metal hitting metal. I walk past my neighbour's drive instead of in and sneak a look into the yard. The gate is wide open. Overalled men move around carrying tyres, engine guts and other tools. The overalls are open at the chest or tied at the waist. Backs and chests look greasy with sweat and oil. Something strange happens to my breath and beads of sweat dot my pebbled skin. My hand rises to move my uniform top away from my hypersensitive skin. There he is, Rodney Potter, very light brown skin gleaming, lean body folded over onto the engine of the red car in front of him. His muscles shift constantly. Each shift shakes my breath. There's a loud bang. I look up to see his brother and his wife look at me from their stoop. She smiles and shakes her head. He looks stoic, so I turn and run. Middle of the night. The heat is overwhelming, so the window has been left open to allow in a soft breeze. The net curtains waves gently rather than flutters. The room is gently lit by the light of the half moon. The scene is peaceful until disturbed grunts and whimpers clutter the air. Then she cries and thrusts up in bed, shoving the bed covers down her legs off her knees. Her breathing is slow and deep, her eyes blurred. She's speaking, but it's hard to hear what she's saying. The camera zooms in so we can read her lips.
Ma.
The room wavers and we see what she can see. A beautiful woman is in the room. Her skin is light to medium brown, her hair texturized, her body extremely curvy. She is beautiful, almost disturbingly so. She alternates between bustling around the room, tidying up and picking up a top here, a dress there. One towel here and a sock there, and pausing to tell off our girl who suddenly looks a few years younger.
And so, you're a big girl now, my baby. You have to keep your room clean.
Ma.
You heard me.
Sorry, Mummy.
Mummy laughs and shakes her head, turns her back to her task.
Bazamkambula Muntan. You're going to remember me and feel sad when you do, thinking, Nagawan, Lalela.
Ma,
It is me's voice. The room wavers. We are back in her current bedroom. Watching her move her lips, we pull away. Mummy's song plays. Morning. Goga's voice wakes me up, and the sun is streaming through the window, a light breeze fooling us into thinking this will be a cool day in the distance.
You can't be a woman if it's the sun's rays hitting the crack of your arse that finally get you up. Stop being so lazy. Get up, man. Habu. What's your grandfather supposed to think?
I look up at the ceiling to enjoy this final moment of quiet, more indistinct shouting. I sigh, sit up and drag myself out of bed into the hall and into the bathroom. Gogo follows me before I can lock the door.
Zoana, a woman can't get up after the sun is up. It's simply not done. How will you get married and keep your house if you can't even wake up on your own?
morning Gogo, Levuke Nejani.
Zivokile, don't try to distract me with your kisses, and don't think I'm just nagging you.
I finish brushing my teeth and move to turn on the shower, test the water until it's the right temperature, shake off the drips, then take off my pajamas. Gogo talks all the while.
Kahulu and I are worried, very worried. You're not simply a little girl, you know. You're at that delicious point between child and woman. Now is the perfect time to learn.
Learn what?
Things.
I stop undressing to smile at Gogo knowingly.
Things, Nay?
Botesek, Shuka, Lafa. I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce that.
So I can learn things now? Thank you, Gogs.
Usuchaile. You know what I mean?
Through the shower curtain.
One day you'll see how right I am. No man cares how clever you are if you can't even get him umdoko in the morning.
And don't go at night, yeah?
Gogo shoves her hand behind the shower curtain to pitch slap my bum. She opens the door.
I'm sorry, I don't want to. No, I can't simply.
You don't know how to.
I haven't got a clue how to pronounce those words, and I wouldn't want to offend by just making a complete mess of it.
Let's move on. She waits on the other side whilst I lock the door. I step into the shower for my morning. I can hear her shouted instructions to the maid as she heads out the front door. Then blended voices of her and the chief gardener rise to me from the orchard. I stand under the shower for a long time, not watching, listening, fantasizing. Kitchen, breakfast. I walk in dressed in my school uniform. The smell of umdoko fills the air. I love and hate it. I'll love it more years from now, miss it more, try to replicate it. For now, it's waiting for me in a gently boiling pot on the stove, and the kettle has just boiled. The top stable door is open and I can see Cece hanging up more clothes on the line.
Honestly, you wonder where they all come from. There aren't that many of us in this house.
I dish up my porridge, get my juice from the fridge and make a pot of tea for myself, and Gogo and Cece won't sit with us, so I've stopped trying to get her to. I can take my time. Gogo's always gets me up too early for everything, so I'm 2 hours too early to even need to leave for school. I can fantasize. I sit at the grey table in one of the 4 chairs, my back to the dining room door. I stir my porridge. It's still too hot. I get the milk from the fridge. It's ice cold. I pour it into the porridge, milk back into the fridge, back into the seat. I scoop up a spoonful into my mouth and the kitchen changes. The door is no longer wooden, it's painted red, one solid block. Outside, my cousins are taking turns riding the tricycle, shrieking with laughter. The puppies chase after them and bark. In the kitchen, the table is full. My cousins chop onions, slice greens and shred carrots. At the counter, another cousin chops tomatoes. My aunts mill around the kitchen, drinking piping hot milky tea and surreptitiously watching over us. I look down. The bowl in front of me is now a pile of green beans. A spoon bangs against a thick metal pot. I look up and there she is. She's hazy. I can barely see her, but I can smell her curry chicken. She looks up at me as if sensing my stare. She points at the beans and is about to speak. Dining together. A sound cuts sharply across the image, dining room door opening, and Kulu shuffling to his seat. The kitchen is as it was. I take a moment, get my breath back to normal, then get up to greet him, walking into the dining room. Now, there then follows quite a lot of dialogue, which I don't think we can read, if only from the point of view that not only do we not understand it, but we really don't want to mess this up for you. So we understand that there is some dialogue at that point. I laugh and go to get his breakfast. The bane of Kulu's existence is the doctor's orders of no more milk or sugar with his tea. I bring Gogo's and mine in so that we can all eat together. They chat around me. We get up. I clear the table and get my bag to walk to school. Kulu drives past me on the driveway. He hoots. I wave and walk. A long walk. The road to school leads through a range of upper middle class homes. The trees are thick and darkly green. The grass is lush, and that's outside the gates. The walls are high and thick. Whilst our house looks used, these houses look like fresh money pours into them for young gardeners and fresh maids. The children in these houses go to posh boarding schools. I fantasize about marrying one of them, living in these fancy houses, belonging. This walk takes me an hour. I walk past the shopping oasis that serves this neighborhood and the school. And before I know it, there it is at the bottom of the hill. I take a deep breath. In we go. In school. School is painfully good. The headmistress, Mrs. Nkomo, went to school with my mother and hated her for being prettier than her. You know how I know. She made us cut off all our hair that had product. And when she realized my hair was natural, she tried to force me to shave my head. Memory. Mrs. Nkomo drags me into her office by the uniform and shoves me into a chair. She goes to her desk to pull out a pair of scissors. She rounds the desk to grab my hair. I try to fight her off. The shouting brings the receptionist and deputy head, Mrs. Sabanda, in. They pull her off me before she can cut it off. Kitty, what are you doing? She slaps her hands off, leans against the desk and points at me.
That little slut thinks she can disrespect me. This is my school. When I say I want a thing done, I want a thing done. Cut her hair off.
She moves towards me. Mrs. Sabanda moves to block her, holds her off. She gestures to me to leave the room. Go and wait for me in the front office. The receptionist, Miss Juba, helps me up from the chair and practically carries me out of the room. She sits me on the sofa, gets me a glass of water and blanket. I can hear them talking, shouting at each other through the office door, the one with her name on it. You can't just attack the children like that. That's against even the government's corporal punishment rules.
That snotty little bitch. I can't stand her.
Getty?
Her and that slut of a mother of hers. God, women like that make me sick. She was always shaking her ass in front of men to get money. No wonder she doesn't know who her father is.
Getty, the woman is dead.
And so, a whore is a whore. Dead or alive, better dead. Even dead, she manages to make my life hell. Get that piece of shit out of my office. She's late for class.
There's hard silence.
Well?
We have to call her parents.
I thought they were dead.
And that's the end of the excerpt. That's 10 pages.
Yes.
I'm going to start here because this is way more than 10 minutes. It's a minute a page, and written like this, this is more than 10 minutes worth of film. So what this reads like is a novel rather than a script, and it really does read like a novel. And I don't know whether you've written it as a novel and are converting it into a script, or whether this is a script cold. It would be a fantastic novel. I can see it all as you're writing it. It's beautifully written, but it's not a script. So really you need to have a look, and it's very easy to find out how to format scripts online. Dead easy. You just Google it and you'll find script formatting, and then you will see that I would say that's a good 30 minutes, if not more, in actual fact, if you were to script that properly with all the scene breaks and everything. Also, you've got quite a lot of interior thought going on, you know, and in scripts you just don't include that. The script has got to give you just what you see, what you hear, and the dialogue, you know, so the scene around you, the dialogue, all of that interior emotional stuff and memories and everything, you leave to the actors, really. And the way in which you put your story together so that the elements of the story, the exposition becomes, you know, a way of finding out what those thoughts are, the backstory and the memories and everything. So that's what I'm just going to leave it at that. And Stewart, what were your thoughts?
I mean, firstly, I thought, I mean, I can see why you say about a novel, and a beautiful novel, because it's so evocative of the landscape and the culture and the scenery, and interesting for that reason. But it sort of really evokes the kind of rite of passage of the main character and her growing up, and that amazing age where you're going into adulthood and all sorts of things are going on. So I really like that. But I agree. I think there was a lot of description, and it did read like a novel, because there were things like there was, for example, it reminded me of a smell of chicken curry, and I'm thinking, why are you putting smell in there? You know, that's possibly a side note for as a, I don't know, to try and evoke a scene for the actors or the director, but it's not. It shouldn't be in a script, I don't think. And the description of the memories on page 9, for example, and walking through the street, it needs to be a description, very factual, kind of, she walks down the street and there are some, you know, rich houses, you know, so you leave it to the production team to go and find that location to evoke that, but you don't need to describe it in great detail. You're kind of making your point of what you're trying to achieve, and leave it up to the production team. But yeah, as I say, it evoked so much, and beautiful in lots of ways. But I just, yeah, as Angela said, it needs a lot of work to make it into a TV script or a film script.
Thank you. Erin?
I agree. I was going to say the same thing, that it kind of needs to almost like a decision of whether or not it's going to be a novel or a screenplay, because it's sort of like both right now. And it's as far as a novel would be beautiful, and as far as a screenplay, it can also see it as well. I think too, if it's going in the screenplay direction, I felt like some of the stuff, like the voiceover needed to, and descriptions of characters need to be more clear, of like who was who or how they connected from the past, because I think for me that was a little confusing as to if some of these characters are actually the same person.
Yeah, I got that as well. Yeah.
And very intriguing, very interesting. And again, if it's a screenplay, it just, the formatting needs to be fixed a little bit, and there needs to be better, like, scene headings and descriptions and things. The actions need to be just like very condensed. But it's amazingly intriguing, and like I'd love to know where it's going.
Thank you. Rachael?
Yeah, similar notes really about, you don't need the amount of description, other people will do that for you. There were some really nice lines and little moments of action in there. The "been avoiding me" line, we're all sitting up for that. Like that's an attention grabber. I love that type of thing. And that teacher's bit at the end as well was another sort of change in the action, and that was really nice and really engaging for the audience. Thank you so much for putting, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the jacaranda trees in there. So I googled this before, they're so beautiful. Like I'd love to see them in a film. Anything else? Yeah, I think I think for most of this, it's just about cutting down that direction and making it into more of a script, which I think you can do. You've got a good storyline and some interesting characters to bring out here. So definitely give it a go.
Thank you, John.
To parrot everybody else, beautifully written. It really did. My memory just flooded of my times in South Africa, in Cape Town and Joburg. You know, I mean, I could visualize the places you were describing. It was just so beautifully written. My one bugbear is obviously Untome, me, and Untomo are all the same person. Just stick with one name. It is so confusing to have 3 names for the same character, because, I mean, it was a dry read for me. So initially I was like, is this 3 separate people? It wasn't until about halfway through I realized they were all the same person. So just stick with one name for the person. If you're doing memory thoughts, then just do, you know, like the off screen, so that you are getting a voiceover of the scene that's you.
I think, do you think I got that those voiceovers were more breaking the fourth wall? I
Yeah.
got that was much more of a,
Well, exactly. You know, you're
turning to one side and, you know,
Yeah,
to camera saying this is, and then
Well,
going back into her conversations. Yeah.
possibly,
I
yes,
liked the voiceovers
or
a lot
just
too.
a character voiceover, like when you see things like Anne Frank's Diary, the film when they filmed that, there are scenes with Anne Frank where she's talking, but the scenes are pretext by Anne having memories which are verbalized. So you get Anne saying, well, this was the day when we were all going up the stairs into our hideout. And then you get the mother and the father talking and Anne coming up the stairs. So she's introducing you to the scene, but the scene's still going on. And this, I think, is what was happening here. You know, we were getting introductions to what was going to happen, and then the scene transpired, but not really sure what it's about, but definitely want to know what it's about. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. And as I say, it's just so beautifully written. But make up your mind, book or script. You can't have both.
And if it's a script, really do some homework on format.
And I'm sorry we didn't try to speak the.
And we try to be very respectful of the language.
Exactly.
Let's put it that way.
You know,
but thank you
I
so
didn't
much.
want to pronounce a word that might be Swahili or Zulu or, you know, whatever, and just offend. So I'd rather not.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.